So I must acknowledge both the bench and the bar of Delhi High Court for making this event very memorable and successful. I'm told that the Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud also addressed in the inaugural session, and also the parallel sessions, technical sessions which had been addressed by various personalities, including the Honorable Supreme Court judges, went very well. This morning I tried to gather some informal informations, some feedbacks that how much this event had created impact in the world of arbitration in India and abroad. And the result which I got was quite positive. In fact, not only the high courts, the subordinate courts in our country, they had keenly watched the entire proceedings of this Delhi International Arbitration Weekend. And since these were live telecast, so even the people from abroad also had access to the proceedings. I have come with a small, very simple note, very quick observations, nothing much to offer because you all know me. I can be contacted, I can be given any kind of task. I'll always be there to ensure that the need for creating a very, very robust system of arbitration in India will have to have the backing of the government and the judiciary and all the stakeholders. And I know that the high quality and meticulous planning of the event had touched upon so many topics. When I was going through the topics which you had discussed during various sessions, that itself throws so many lights. Extensive event to deal with arbitration in India so far. Let me compliment the entire organizing committee. Currently, the majority of arbitrations in India are conducted as ad hoc arbitration. Now, I tried to find out in the ministry also, when I took over the charge of the Ministry of Law and Justice, I tried to assess why we prefer ad hoc arbitrations in India. What is that we have yet to get into the total mode of institutional arbitrations? There are various attributes which I will not dwell into length today, but there are issues. And we must appreciate each country has its own taste, certain characters, which will require time to sync with the international practices. But having said that, if India has to become a global hub of international arbitrations, then we have to sync with the international practice. Because of the majority of the people prefers this ad hoc arbitration, it becomes susceptible to the court intervention. Justice Kaul also mentioned about it, and I'm told most of the people are of the same opinion. On the other hand, the institutional arbitrations are regulated by the rules of an institution that provide for a more structured and secure process. In addition, parties can benefit from the expertise of the arbitral institutions having good quality infrastructure. You all know that India has so many arbitration centers at this moment. If you compare with some of the countries, especially the smaller countries, our size is really big in terms of numbers. Having said that, sometimes quantity is okay, but quality matters more. Now, besides this Delhi International Arbitration Center, we have recently created India International Arbitration Center. In many cities of India, we have different centers. Let me make it very clear. All the centers are complementary to each other. There has to be stiff competitions, but that competition is inherently necessary to make India a global center. We have to ensure that we learn from each other and we cooperate each other. There is no place for any conflict of interest from between one center to another center. So we have to work together. With the emphasis on institutional arbitration, it is essential that new arbitration centers are set up in non-metro cities also, and a wide spectrum of disputes to the extent feasible are encouraged for being resolved through arbitration. The government at its level has been active in bringing in the requisite changes in the policy and the laws to promote institutional arbitration. The whole system of institutional arbitration is crucial in creating and enhancing the ease of doing business environment. It is further important to emphasize about it being linked to ease of living. Ease of living will be witnessed when there is prosperity in the society and a robust system promoting ease of doing business atmosphere. As we all are aware, for the enforcement of contract, as per the World Bank Ease of Doing Business report, India takes as much as 1,445 days to resolve a dispute, and 31% of the claim value for the dispute resolution is spent during the process itself. These are some of the realities which we have to be very mindful. I have personally interacted with honorable judges of the Supreme Court and to large extent the honorable judges of the High Courts. Without the support of judiciary, the efforts to promote ease of doing business and ease of living will remain a distant dream. The judiciary has also been receptive of the various measures which have been taken to strengthen the dispute resolution measures in the country and appreciates the concerns of the government to meet the objectives in this regard. Our objective is very clear. I am very happy to acknowledge that Indian judiciary has on many occasions come forward and displayed their cooperation to ensure that alternative dispute resolution mechanisms in India are successful and arbitration ecosystem becomes robust. In this direction, the courts in India have been proactive in constantly adopting arbitration-friendly approach. Justice Kaul just mentioned a while ago, the Supreme Court of India paved the way for enforcement of emergency arbitral awards in India, seated arbitrations in the Amazon Future Group case. Similarly, the Government of India has taken various steps and measures towards in field of arbitration and made every effort to keep the law on arbitration, that is Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, in sync with the international development. In this regard, you are well aware, Arbitration and Conciliation Act of 1996 has been amended in the years 2015, 2019 and 2021 to meet the need and requirement of the times. As I mentioned a while ago, government has established India International Arbitration Center as an independent institution to provide world-class infrastructure and facilities for conducting domestic and international arbitration. This IIAC will also work for setting up of arbitration academy to train arbitrators in India who would be at par with the expected global standards. It will also promote studies in the field of alternative dispute resolution and related matters and to suggest reforms in the process of settlement of disputes. It will also cooperate with other bodies, institutions, and organizations, nationally or internationally, in the area of ADR. Another important setup which we have taken forward this step is setting up of Arbitration Council of India. It has been provided for pursuant to insertion of Part 1A in the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 by way of Amendment Act of 2019. Arbitration Council of India is expected to incentivize arbitral institutions to improve their functioning and to bring uniformity of norms and standards amongst the various arbitration institutions by framing policies governing the grading of arbitral institutions and holding training, workshops, and courses in the area of arbitration. Now, we all talk about making India international hub of arbitration. Now, how will it happen? I tried to have a glance of other known and renowned international arbitration centers like Singapore, Hong Kong, or Paris, or London, or New York. If you see the total numbers of cases, it is nothing compared to what we have the Delhi International Arbitration Center. I won't go into the details of the figures, but if one has to compare the mere numbers of cases referred, Delhi International Arbitration Center, established in the year 2009, as per reports, has nearly 6,373 cases listed and 4,993 hearings being held in the year 2022. Considering the vastness of our country, besides the ongoing domestic and international commercial arbitration, even if a fraction of a total litigation in the country is resolved through arbitration, the potential for setting up of arbitration institutions like BIAC and IIAC is quite huge. This unexplored and hidden potential, in my view, is the key for developing India as a hub and center of arbitration. I strongly feel this is India's moment. It has to happen. India cannot be denied. When the whole world is looking at India, when India has emerged as the fastest growing large economies of the world, already attained fifth largest economy size in the world, how can India be stopped? We just have to seize this opportunity. And this event is a perfect direction towards that. I feel it is essential to briefly recall the success story of Singapore. When I was deliberating a discussion in the parliament, most of the members of the parliament were saying, why India cannot become like Singapore? Why India is not becoming like London or Paris or New York or Hong Kong? And I tried to assess myself. What are the attributes? The English speaking, the hosting place for so many multinational companies, the English common law, everything is there. But what stops? Is India not a global center? Today, anybody can reach Delhi from any part of the world. Bombay can be, reached within a few hours from any part of the world. I don't think anybody finds India a distant place in terms of geographical locations or distance. Then what is that? That if Singapore can become a global hub, why India cannot? That is why I firmly stated with conviction that nothing can stop India. If anything can stop India, it is we Indians. We only can stop ourselves. Nobody else can stop us. It is our moment. We must seize it. Now, the necessary requirements for establishing arbitration centers of international repute are already available in India, we have the advantage of time zone also. India, if you look at the global map, if you just open up the Atlas map or any projection map, look at the location of India. The location itself is so attractive. I don't think any country today in the world can deny that. Now, with this English being a common language of all the superior courts in India, I don't think there is anything which can stop us from making an ourselves and becoming a global center. The high-level committee on arbitration constituted by the Government of India under the chairmanship of Justice B.N. Krishna in 2017 had recommended that there is an earnest need for creation of a dedicated arbitration bar in the country, and which comprises of young persons also. In my view, there arises also a consequential change in the legal studies curriculum at law colleges and universities to promote specialized study of ADR mechanisms for law students so that the requisite exposure of the field is available to them when they enter the profession. Technology, we all know, I don't need to spend much time on it. We have a very clear-cut target and objective before us. Indian courts must go paperless. If the recent budget is of any indication, it reflects the intention of the government. The 7,000 crore which we have devoted for the phase 3 of the e-courts projects itself shows that the requirement of the judiciary, the intention of the Indian judiciary and the government are in sync with each other. I have requested personally the Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, that as he headed the E-Committee for a long time, as a Chief Justice of India, he should continue to head it for some time, because we are on a mission mode and we need to complete and accomplish the task. He has already taken lots of steps along with the Chief Justice of the High Courts, all the E-Committees of different High Courts. We are very happy and excited also that during this COVID pandemic, India has emerged as a global leader. Not only I'm talking in terms of volumes, but in true quality of the works. To look at the achievement which Indian courts have managed in this pandemic time. During phase 1 and phase 2, I saw there were some lacking, some shortcomings, but phase 3 will be super fast. And the budgetary allocation is as per the requirement of the E-Committee of the Supreme Court's proposal. And my officers in the Department of Justice had worked very closely with the Supreme Court E-Committee, and we will continue to work together very, very closely. The online dispute resolution provides a convenient and cost-effective way of resolving disputes, and also can be used for small claims cases. Use of artificial intelligence is so crucial in today's time. AI can be used to assist arbitrators in tasks such as document review and analysis, legal research, and drafting of awards. AI tools can also be used to identify patterns and trends in the data, which can help in making informed decisions. Government is fully committed to enhancing digital capabilities and take institutional arbitration to the next pedestal to enhance the overall competence and proficiency of all the stakeholders involved in the arbitration process. Government aims to assist in establishing an arbitration ecosystem which has the quality arbitrators and is easily accessible to increase confidence and conviction of the parties in arbitration as a credible alternative to litigation in courts. Further, aim is to promote and encourage arbitration for smaller contractual disputes other than large commercial disputes, including where one of the parties is a micro, small, or medium enterprise. With the adequate support of the Government of India relating to the policy and legislative interventions, the dynamic field of arbitration is an avenue for the lawyers to take up and contribute, which in turn can augment the resources and quality of arbitration in the country, establishing India as a hub of arbitration. Robust, conversant, and well-informed arbitration bar would further promote recourse to arbitration as a viable alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Our vision 2030 is to see arbitration space remain dynamic, amenable to quick adoption of best practices, and conscious of the needs of the time-bound and final adjudication of contractual disputes. The coming together of various stakeholders in the field of arbitration over the last 3 days would have provided an opportunity for brainstorming and exchange of ideas. It is hoped that learnings from this extremely well-organized symposium can lead to further improvement of the arbitration ecosystem and adoption of global best practices in our country. When we talk about ADR, Justice Cole mentioned, we are expecting to bring the mediation bill. I was in fact targeting last year itself. But after we tabled the bill in the parliament, every member of the parliament desired that it should be referred to the parliamentary standing committee. So when the bill was sent to the parliamentary standing committee, I can very well divulge here, there's a huge difference between what government proposed and what parliamentary standing committee came up with numerous recommendations. While preparing the mediation bill, we had consulted large numbers of stakeholders, including very senior retired Supreme Court judges, High Court judges, and some sitting judges also. Look at the difference in perception also at times. When I thought the bill being tabled in the parliament was perfect piece of legislation, there come a huge variations in the recommendations. And I realized that when I went through the recommendations of the Parliamentary Standing Committee, some of them were so relevant. So we created the recommendations into 3 categories. One, the recommendations of the Parliamentary Standing Committee, which we can accept, and we have in fact informally accepted. I cannot comment right now officially because it has to go to the cabinet. Second, which we cannot accept. Third, it can be accepted with partial modifications. So the field is so wide open, and I'm sure when we finally come out with that amended piece of draft legislation, it will do a wonder in the field of ADR. Now, without going much into the other issues, let me assure that when the courts initiate certain actions, the support from the government is definitely expected, and I assure that. We have to work together. And I feel so privileged to be part of an event which is court-driven. The Delhi High Court has taken such a wonderful initiative. It is incumbent upon me as the Minister for Law and Justice to be part of the process. It is my duty to ensure that whatever comes out, all the recommendations of these 3 days intensive deliberation, government has to support it, because it is not just coming out of blue with these suggestions, but after so much of research, deliberations and understandings of the issues on the ground, you have come out with these suggestions. I'm sure at the end of the day, Rekha Palliji, Vibhu Bakriji, both of you will share these documents with me as soon as possible. And our senior judges of Delhi High Court, Justice Sharma, Justice Mridu, Justice Mohan, they are all experienced judges. And I'm proud of Delhi High Court for taking such a wonderful initiative. The whole, not only India, as I said, the whole global world of arbitration is looking at India because of this initiative. These last 3 days, we have become celebrated of all the islands. I'm extremely proud to be part of this great event. Congratulations to all the organizers and all the stakeholders, and I must acknowledge the participation from the foreign countries. This kind of support from our friends and people from the field, from all important countries take part. This will definitely become very important factors for making India a global hub of international arbitrations. And finally, I thank all the Honorable Supreme Court judges, all the judges from the different high courts, the Chief Justice Sanjeev Banerjee. I was very excited. He has come from Northeast, so he represented me here. And of course, the Delhi High Court, Delhi High Court judges are all here, but other judges have also joined. That is a very encouraging sign. And with the guidance of the senior judges from the Supreme Court, I see no reason to worry that there are huge obstacles before us. Everything is a highway for us, and we have to embark on the journey to make India truly a global hub of international arbitrations. Thank you very much.